Hey guys, and welcome back to our next DIY kit video. This one is going to be our 2025 Hanukkah DIY kit. There is the Star of David, a menorah, and a dreidel, and there is glitter for all of them. It doesn't really matter for these which goes in what, but when I do it, I'll let you know which one that I'm going to use. The very first one we're going to start with is the menorah. It is the easiest of all of them. You will have your magnet paper, your background paper, your center paper, your acetate, outline, and your top piece. So we're first going to start off with the magnet paper. What we're going to do is peel off a little bit from the top, and then we're going to bend it over, but we're not going to take the whole thing off yet because it's going to help us center the rest of it later. So just like this, you don't want to pull all of it off yet. And you're going to take your dark blue piece, try to center it as best you can. Once you feel comfortable, just press down on the sticky part that we uncovered. Then what we're going to do is pull back on your blue piece and take the rest of your protective cover off. Center it the rest of the way and smooth it over. And now you have your circle. You're going to take your glue bottle. This is what yours will look like. I'm using a different one. We're going to take our light blue piece, and since it's a circle, it doesn't matter which direction you're doing, and go on the outside. This is where our foam tape is going to lay, so we want to make sure that this is going to be stuck as best as it can to the bottom. I apologize for the wind. It's very windy outside today. Once we have all of this glued, we're going to flip it over and center it on your dark blue piece. I'm just going to press down with my finger to make sure everything is nice and flat. Next, we're going to take our clear piece, which is called acetate. Your acetate is going to have Sharpie marks on it if it still has the protective cover on it. So what we're going to do is pull back the protective cover, and then you're going to see that Sharpie mark is no longer on your acetate. We're going to take your gold circle, flip that upside down, and glue around the edge. Small little lines, or you can do little dots. Once you put your glue on, you're going to flip it upside down and center it on your acetate. And then you're going to press down to make sure everything is nice and flat. It's okay if the glue goes over, it's going to dry clear, but what you can do is kind of scrape this off with your fingernail if you get any on this gold piece, and it'll go away. Once you're done with that, you're going to take your menorah, flip it upside down, and I like doing glue dots for this one instead of lines, just because it doesn't spread as much once it's on top, but totally up to you. And then we'll flip this over and center it in your circle. And then gently press down with your fingers to make sure it's all nice and flat. And then you can actually flip it over and see all the glue on the back side. And if nothing is flat, you can go ahead and press down where you're missing it. Then we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to do the foam tape now. So I like starting at the top, but this is a circle, so you kind of just start wherever. What we're going to do is we're going to press down with our finger, and then as we go around the circle, we're going to continue to wiggle the foam tape so that it kind of relaxes. You want to break the backing paper every once in a while so that doesn't peel up on you, but if it peels up, that's totally okay too. Wiggle, break the paper. Make sure it's all nice and flat, and then just go around the whole circle. Once we get to the end, we're going to overlap it just a little bit and cut it off. And there you go. I'm going to keep this part at the top that overlaps just in case something does happen. If it unravels, none of the glitter will fall out because it's on top. I'm going to take one of the darker blue ones. So there you have a light blue one, and there's two dark blues. You could choose either one. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it right in the middle. And you don't have to use all of it if you don't want to. Shake it out. And then we're going to peel off the second backing piece to this. There's a Sharpie mark on it. So that means that we still have a protective cover. Peel that off, and then peel off your backing paper for your foam tape. Just want to make sure that you don't have any glitter on your foam tape. If you do, you can peel it off with your fingers. You can use some tweezers, or you can just put glue over that part to make sure that when it dries, nothing will come undone. Now we're going to center this on the foam tape. What I like to do is look at it from a top view, bird's eye view. I like to put my fingers almost like in the middle of the acetate so that when I put my fingers down on the table, the acetate isn't touching the table, because you want it to be centered before you touch it on the foam tape. Then when it looks good, I can press down all the way around. And then we're going to do a shake test to make sure nothing falls out. And there's our first magnet. The next magnet we're going to do is the dreidel. So you're going to have your magnet piece. You're going to have your dark blue back piece, your light blue middle piece, acetate, your outline, and then you'll have your little bag of stuff that goes on top of the outline. Like our last magnet, we're going to peel off just the top of this magnet paper. I'll go a little bit past this top piece so we don't rip it on accident later. Then we're going to go ahead and center it. I like pushing my fingers like this sometimes. It'll help you get it just to the edge lined up pretty good. Then we'll peel back this paper like that and center the rest. And there you go. Next, we're going to take the light blue piece, and it looks like this is pretty symmetrical, so it shouldn't really matter which side you use. But just remember that we have to glue the very outline of this so that the foam tape stays. Go all the way down, and then we will center it on the blue. Press down with my fingers. The glue does not dry all the way, so you can kind of shift it back and forth a tad to make sure that everything is as centered as you want it to be. Now while that's drying, we are going to work on the top. So you'll need your clear piece, and remember there's Sharpie on both sides. So if there's Sharpie on it, that means there's a protective cover on it. So we're gonna peel just one side off for now, and we're going to glue on the outline. So the shiny part is on top, you'll flip it upside down and glue all the way around. Want to use a light hand so it doesn't spread out the sides, but if it does, it dries clear, so it's not too bad. Flip it upside down and center it on your acetate. And we're gonna go ahead and press down on that. In your little baggie, there are your detail pieces. You'll start with your square, flip that upside down, and here we're just gonna do dots. It's super thin, so if you do dots, it's less likely to leak out the sides. Then we're going to center this inside of the bigger square. Our next pieces are going to be kind of small, but you can hold it on both sides. Once you flip it upside down, you'll do the dots again, and then set it right on top. This one's going to go on the right side. And then for this one, since it's so small, I'm going to kind of just put glue already on the top piece. Then we'll flip this over and put it right underneath. Push it down. Oops. There you have it. The glue doesn't dry right away, so if it's not quite as centered as you like it would be, you can shift it a little. And now for the foam tape. So we're going to start at the top again, and what we're going to do is go on the corner, and then you're going to push down really hard with your left hand, and then you're going to pull up with your right hand, and it'll break the paper, and then it'll make the curve, or there you go, it'll make the curve for you. This one you'll just tear a little bit like you did with the circle. Then we're going to turn the corner again by pressing down, pulling up, press down, pull to the side, make your straight line, press down, pull to the side, and each corner you're ripping the paper with your finger so that it's as easy as can be to turn the corner. And then you'll meet at the top, overlap it a bit, and you want to make sure that they're touching so that the glitter doesn't go through. And then we'll chop off the rest. Now we're going to take our other glitter that has the dark blue in it. We're going to put it inside. There may be too much to do all of it. You can try either way. The less glitter, the more it'll shake. Then we're gonna shake it like that to make sure everything's nice and flat. And your top piece still has the Sharpie on it. So we're gonna go ahead and peel off that protective cover off the back, because now we're ready to use it. We'll peel off the acetate, or excuse me, the foam tape. Then we're going to center this on here. Do it from the top. Make sure everything is nice and centered before you stick it on. Once you stick it on, it is not coming off. That was a little too much glitter, but it still shakes a little. We have a bunch of glue on the side from my fingerprints. You can just take your nail very lightly and it'll scrape right off. And there you have it, your dreidel. The next magnet we're going to do is the Star of David. And my biggest tip for you on this one is when you take it out of the package, do not rummage these pieces around too much so that you know which one lines up. You'll kind of see as we go that things are not going to line up because it's not a symmetrical magnet, and it's a little frustrating sometimes. So what we're going to do to help mitigate that is when you take it out of the package, keep everything as like this is your top point, just leave it all the top point in front of you so that you know which one goes where. Now if you accidentally mix things up, we're going to start from the top down because this is very shiny and silver and not very shiny and silver gold, I'm sorry, on the other side. So we know that this is the top and we are going to match it up. So see how this one matched up? Now this is going to be our top point the whole time. So we're going to take this one, flip it upside down, and we're going to do glue dots for this. It's going to be hard to do lines because it's so thin, but we're just going to squeeze and do little dots all over. And you can even put a dot down and then spread it across the rest of the way. But you want to get as many of these sides as possible. And I'm going to flip it back over. And remember, this is my top. And we're going to line it up to this one. And squeeze. Because it's so tiny, there's kind of going to be glue everywhere. If it dries on your fingers, you can just wipe it right off. And then if it dries on the gold, after a while, you can go ahead and use your fingernail and scrape it right off. It'll be as good as new. So now we're going to do our acetate. We're going to peel off our top piece. So if things got a little mixed up, what we're gonna do is choose something to be the top. And you can tell here that it's not lining up. So what we're gonna do is move the bottom piece to the side and see if that lines up. And that does. So we're gonna set down the acetate with this top piece up, keep this top piece up, and flip it upside down. And then here's where we're gonna put the glue. So I'm going to put lines on the outside and then do dots. On the inside. And remember, we have our top piece. We're going to flip it over and match it right on top. And that way things stay as lined up as possible. We will press down to make sure all the glue is on as well as it can be. And there you go. So we're still gonna work from the top down. We got the most important part done. We're going to take our dark blue piece first, and we're gonna do the same thing. This is gonna be our top. We're gonna line it up. And that lines up, but if it did not line up for you, you would just move it to the next point and see how it's still not lined up. You would just keep moving and moving until everything lines up for you. And there it goes, it lines up for me again. So once you have everything lined up, you're going to take your top piece put it to the side, and we're going to get our next ones. So we're going to see if it lines up, and it does line up for me. But remember, if it doesn't line up for you, you just keep moving your points. You want to remove your bottom piece, not your top piece. Okay, until everything lines up again. So it lines up for me. I'm going to take my blue piece, and this is going to be up for me. So we're not going to move this yet, okay? And then we're going to line this up as centered as possible, and see it's not center. So we're going to move it to the side until we find that centered. Still not very centered, so we're going to move it again. And now everything lines up. So we're going to take our top piece, put it down with that same tip facing up. It's going to be different for everyone making this video depending on what you decided was your top piece. But now we're going to work on the magnet paper, and things are not lining up. So we're going to move to the side, and look at that. It's all lined up. So we're going to keep this top piece facing up. Then we're going to peel off some of the magnet paper, making sure to keep this up at all times so we know where it's lined up. I'm going to put this on here, center it, push it down, peel back the rest, center it, and there you go. We're going to put this like this so we know it's up, and take our white piece. This is up, so we're going to hold the bottom and flip it upside down. We don't want to move the tips side to side because then we won't line up correctly. So then we're going to go all the way around the edge as best you can so the foam tape doesn't peel up. Glue the center, flip it upside down, and center it. Now we'll take our next piece and do the same thing. Flip it upside down, making sure to keep the top your top. Go around the outside. Everywhere in between. Flip it over. Center it on the white piece. So this one is going to be the same size as your white piece. Now that we have that done, we're going to do the foam tape. This one's going to have a lot of twists and turns. We're going to start at whatever you deemed the top to be in the corner. And then we're going to press down, break the paper a little to make the curve. Press down, and then pull up. Keep going all the way across. If things start lifting like this, that's totally fine. Just kind of push it down with your finger, and then when we sandwich everything together, it will close just fine. Now, when we're back to the edge, we're going to overlap it a little and then cut off the extra. There, you're done. Remember, the same top point you had here is going to be the same top point we had over here. And just to make sure, you can always reline it up. So this is what it'll look like when it's all lined up. If it's not, you can tell because you'll see the foam tape underneath. See? And this is what it looks like when it's all lined up. So we're going to take the backing paper off of here because we still have our Sharpie. Facing the same point up. Just making sure everything is okay. Then we're going to take our glitter with the light blue in it and pour it in. This might be a little too much. I'm going to take some out. You can use as little or as much as you'd like. Then we're going to peel off the foam tape. Once that's done, we're going to make sure we don't have any glitter on our foam tape. And center it as best we can. Put it right on top. Push down on all the sides. Then we're going to do a shake test to make sure nothing pops out. And there you have it. Your Star of David. Thank you guys so much for joining me on making this 2025 Hanukkah DIY kit. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I will put a link in the description for all the other kits we have. I also have started a survey for your feedback on how well these videos are direction-wise. Anyone who fills out the survey will get a $5 discount code at the very end. And we'd love to know what you like from these videos, what directions need to be clearer, and what we should keep in all the videos. So anything will be greatly appreciated. And thank you so much for watching our videos, and I hope to see you in the next one.